Welcome back. Here we go again. Tonight we circle the same question from completely different angles. What do you do when someone demands you choose and both options are a trap? Castor is inside the artifact's resonance core, being asked to declare himself creator or destroyer. Cylas is settling a debt with the most dangerous being on Earth. And Freydis, 1,000 years in the past, is watching the future she can't stop and deciding what kind of empire she'll build anyway. 3 characters, 3 impossible moments. We're in the home stretch. Only 5 episodes remain. Let's get into it.
Cylas adjusted the collar of his coat as he and Vra'shek trudged up the rain-slicked street. The Four Corners bar loomed ahead, neon lights flickering like dying stars.
It'll be good to get off this planet. Shame about Talrin, though. She didn't deserve to go out like that.
Vra'shek gave a low, rumbling laugh.
She chose weakness. The Covenant does not reward weakness.
You talk about the Covenant like it's a religion.
Vra'shek smiled, a sharp, predatory baring of teeth.
It is not religion. It is correction. The Zorathian High Council blinded their species, tethered their destiny to fragile ideals. The Covenant intends to cut those tethers permanently, and we, Kren, will benefit.
That tone, casual, assured, but heavy with doctrine, made Cylas's skin crawl.
Really? You never said what your goals actually were.
Vra'shek stopped at the foot of the stairwell leading to the bar's upper floor. His pupils contracted into razor slits.
Simple enough for even your species to understand. Steal the artifact, destroy what remains of the High Council, and open the gate. When leadership is gone, the Covenant ascends.
Cylas hesitated. He'd heard Vra'shek rant before, but not like this. This was strategy, not ideology.
And what then?
Vra'shek tilted his head, mock amusement in his voice.
Then the galaxy remembers who it should fear.
They climbed the stairs in silence. Above, the bar's hum grew into a low mechanical rhythm, the portal machinery buried in its bones, awakening. Inside the control alcove, Cylas began inputting coordinates. Triel's voice crackled over the comm.
Four Corners sequence online. Portal vector aligned with Oryx Station Corridor 9.
Copy that. Stabilizing gate field.
The air around them shimmered as the first containment rings spun into place, thin bands of pale light carving the air like orbits. Vra'shek stepped closer, the glow reflecting in his scaled eyes.
Once we cross, the Covenant will be ready. The High Council's ashes will feed our rise.
Cylas didn't answer. He only stared into the forming portal, trying not to think about Talrin's body dissolving into purple dust. When the portal's roar filled the room, Vra'shek smiled.
This is the point of no return, Zorathian. Step wisely.
Cylas gave a thin smile back.
Yeah, you too.
And together, they stepped into the light. The wind from the northern fjord howled outside her longhouse, but Freydis didn't feel it. The artifact in her hands pulsed with heat, its light crawling up her arms in threads of molten gold.
Show me. Show me the truth about him.
The world folded. She was no longer in her hall, but standing in the crystalline gardens of Zora. Her Zora, but before the fall. Blue suns shimmered through the leaves, voices murmured nearby. She crept closer, hidden behind the carved trunk of an elder spire tree. There, Darin Dis, her husband. His uniform still gleamed with the insignia of the Ark Command. Beside him stood Salon, radiant and cruel. Between them, the symbol of the Covenant was being carved into the air with shimmering energy, a mark that pulsed like a wound.
The Council has lost its will. They build ships to flee when they should have built fleets to fight.
Salon's reply was a whisper, serpentine and sure.
Then we will do what they cannot. We will burn the infection out of Zora itself.
The air trembled. Another figure appeared, one of the temple priests from the earlier vision. The same garden, the same arrogance. Freydis reached out instinctively, but froze as the vision shimmered. Two new forms flickered into existence at the garden's edge, Castor and Sarah. Sarah's voice broke through the illusion, raw, desperate.
No, you can't!
Freydis staggered back, the artifact's light guttering. She felt the scream in her bones, heard the same anguish she herself had known when the iron door fell. The vision dimmed, the garden melted away. Freydis knelt in the dark, gasping. The artifact pulsed weakly now, almost mournful.
So, she fights them. She fights you.
A pause, then the faintest vibration against her palms, an acknowledgement. For the first time in centuries, Freydis's rage cooled. When she returned to her people that night, the artifact's light burned low at her belt, steady and contained. She looked across the fjord at the growing fires of her encampment, warriors training, tribes uniting, the beginning of something vast.
An empire, but not of your making.
The artifact hummed once, unreadable. Freydis stared out into the aurora-laced night.
All right then. Let them come. Let the future come.
Light pressed around Castor like glass turned liquid. The walls of the resonance core shimmered, every surface vibrating with unreadable symbols. He could feel the artifact breathing, each pulse a question that clawed its way into his mind. Then the voice came, not from the air, but from inside him. Choose. Castor turned slowly, though there was no direction to turn toward.
Choose what? There are no absolutes.
Creator or destroyer. Choose.
Look, I don't know about you, but I'm not ready for that. There's so much I don't understand. But I'm understanding more every day.
He stepped forward, his reflection fracturing into hundreds of versions of himself.
What if I'm both? What if to create something, I have to destroy something else?
The light rippled. Twins, priest, not chosen, cannot represent this section of universe. You are chosen. Choose.
You had no issue destroying the twins a minute ago, or that priest in Egypt, right? Don't talk to me about choosing. You've already decided what happens to anyone who isn't chosen.
The resonance flickered, white to violet to black. Then came the whisper, cold and endless.
This universe must be aligned. Your emotions define angle. Creator or destroyer, your will sets arc.
Castor's pulse pounded in his ears. For a moment, he thought he saw the crystalline flower again, the one from the beach, its petal trembling in his hand. Its edges refracted the same impossible light that surrounded him now. He closed his fist around it.
No, not yet.
The walls pulsed once, then froze. The light dimmed, leaving him suspended in a vast silence. From the outside, Castor looked frozen mid-breath, hands open, eyes unfocused. A statue of light inside a dome of glass. Sarah pressed her palm against the translucent barrier. Nothing. Not even a flicker. Drimus crouched beside her, studying the patterns on the surface.
He's alive. Biosignature stable, but I think he's in dialogue.
Roger crossed his arms.
Dialogue? With what? That thing hasn't said a word to any of us.
It speaks to whom it chooses.
You seem to know a lot about things you're not involved in.
Sarah's head snapped up, eyes flashing gold and violet.
How do I know you're not an Oblivion Covenant agent in disguise?
Roger took a step back.
Excuse me?
Drimus raised a hand.
Because there is no history of such infiltration in his background, or any human record for that matter. Although...
She frowned. Sarah and Roger both turned to her.
Although... We know Salon Sudis founded the Oblivion Covenant, but her husband wasn't mentioned in the archives. No record, no lineage trace, nothing.
Sarah's expression darkened.
Because maybe there's nothing there to uncover.
Hold on now. We all agree something's hidden, more than we know. But maybe what's hidden isn't in the past. Maybe it's here, right in front of us.
What are you getting at, Roger?
I'm getting at the fact that the person who has the easiest time staying hidden is often the one standing right in front of you.
You think Castor?
Before Roger answered, the wall flared brilliant gold, blinding them all. At the four corners, the hum of the portal generator filled the chamber, low and pulsing, like a heartbeat made of static. Blue-white light coalesced in the air before them, rippling as if struggling to decide whether it was flame or water. Vra'shek stood, his armor charred and his breathing uneven, though his eyes burned with the same predatory confidence. Cylas moved behind him, silent as the expanding light crawled up the walls. He had already signaled the station, a short burst through his neural link, encrypted and untraceable. The message was simple. Prisoner secured. Priority level red. As the portal stabilized, Cylas spoke at last, voice calm and measured.
You know, there are certain things that Zorathian agents carry that aren't commonly known.
Vra'shek gave a dry laugh, his voice low and contemptuous.
And what might that be, Zorathian?
Cylas tilted his head, as if humoring him.
Well, we all have a bioagent that activates when our bodies die. Keeps our DNA out of Kryn hands.
Flee. I already know that, as do all Kryn.
Of course you do. Probably seen that start yourself a few times even.
He reached into his belt pouch, producing a pair of black, vein-lined restraints that shimmered faintly with contained energy.
Do you also know that we carry energy-dampening binds?
He snapped the cuffs around Vra'shek's wrists. The alien hissed as the devices flared, siphoning the kinetic energy from his body until even his breath seemed heavier.
Or,
Cylas continued, stepping closer,
that some of us, specifically Oblivion Covenant agents, carry ocular recorders embedded in our eyes. They log every sight, every face, every death.
He placed both hands on Vra'shek's shoulders, forcing the Kren to meet his gaze. For the first time, Cylas let the cold hatred beneath his voice slip through.
Or, do you know who killed my friend Talrin?
Vra'shek's expression faltered, just slightly. Cylas leaned close enough that the Kren could feel the breath on his skin.
Because I do. And when this is all finished, you and I are going to settle up.
The portal flared open behind them, bathing the chamber in brilliant white. The hum rose to a crescendo as the two figures stepped forward, one in chains, one carrying a ghost. The world around Castor pounded like a heartbeat he couldn't catch up to. The voice of the artifact, if it could be called a voice, was both inside and outside his skull, an omnipresent vibration pressing against his thoughts. "Choose," it commanded again. "The in-between is not balanced." Castor's jaw tightened. He'd heard ultimatums before, from teachers, his foster parents, even Sarah, when the tension between them had cracked open. But this was different. This was cosmic manipulation disguised as logic.
Yeah, we're not playing that game.
"Choice is function," the artifact replied. "Choice defines. Creator, destroyer. Choose."
Function isn't freedom. You're talking about categories, not choices. Two options are never free will. They're a trap set to snap.
The surrounding resonance flickered, like static struggling to hold an image. What is trap to context?
Perspective, all through human history. Take Genghis Khan. He created the Mongolian Empire, unified nations, changed the face of Asia. But he destroyed millions doing it. So what was he? Creator or destroyer?
The artifact hesitated, its hum deepening, fractal light bending in on itself. Both statements cannot coexist. Inconsistency destabilizes purpose.
Exactly. Maybe that's the point.
The surrounding light dimmed, and for the first time since he'd been trapped, he saw the shell tremble, like a breathing thing struggling to maintain coherence. Outside, Sarah had kept her palm pressed against the transparent barrier, trying to reach Castor. She couldn't move. It would admit defeat. Then something changed. The hum in the air shifted, became emotional pressure rather than sound. Her fingers began to sink, not melt but phase through the smooth surface. She gasped as her mind collided with Castor's. She didn't see images, not really, but fragments of his thoughts, the debate, the frustration, the spark of defiance. She joined it instinctively. She pressed deeper.
Castor, stop arguing with it. It doesn't understand contradictions. It's coded for binaries, yes or no.
His response came back immediate and raw.
Then help me uncode it.
Together, their overlapping thoughts intertwined with the logic web of the artifact's shell. It crackled with color, gold into blue, into violet, violet into deeper gold. The resonance that had separated them for so long suddenly fused their signals, one voice, one resistance. Inconsistency equals corruption. Purpose cannot sustain paradox.
Then evolve. That's what people do.
For a brief moment, nothing moved or even breathed. Then it responded. Then I returned to the beginning. With that, the barrier melted away. Not violently, but like glass slowly deciding to stop being solid. Sarah stumbled forward as the light folded inward. For an instant, everything inverted. Sound vanished, gravity tilted, and when sensation returned, the two of them stood in a very different space. Stone walls, polished obsidian floors, flickering firelight, and the unmistakable architecture of Zora, though older, almost primal, Sarah thought. A figure stood at the far end of the chamber, robes like molten obsidian, her posture proud and defensive, looking at a communication screen.
You!
Salon Sudis turned, her eyes glinting with exhaustion and recognition.
Who are you? And why do I feel like I know you? And that you're not supposed to be here.
I am Sarah Sudis, loyal warrior of the Zorathian Empire.
And I'm Castor. We weren't given much of a choice as far as being here.
Behind her, another figure moved, male, Zorathian but subtly altered by age and travel. His face hit something deep in Sarah's memory, though she couldn't place it. She saw Castor's confusion too, the faint flicker of recognition neither could explain.
I am Salon Sudis, member of the Zorathian High Council.
Yes, I know who you are.
Castor and the Zorathian man laughed almost in unison, causing the women to both turn and look.
Well, Sarah,
Castor started, after a nod from the Zorathian man.
You two look identical except for the hair. You could be sisters.
Salon looked between them, then sighed, almost human.
Sisters, no. Blood, almost certainly.
She motioned to the man.
Voss and I were trying to stop it, not use it. The artifact in your hands was designed to interface with us, but it started to decide for us. I cut it off in the chamber to stop that recursion. Freydis didn't understand. She thought she could merge with it.
Merge? You mean bond?
I mean submit. It presents itself as a gift that assists, but what it wanted was control. That's why it was given to the Zorathian people.
And you thought you could control it. You make a lot of mistakes for a council member.
I wanted to understand its origin, to rewrite its directive. But the thing resists comprehension. It doesn't want to serve. It wants to be obeyed.
Castor exhaled, rubbing his forehead.
And that's what Freydis gave it.
Yes. Conquest, not comprehension.
Salon's gaze softened slightly toward Sarah.
That is the danger of our blood. The artifact mirrors emotion. It magnifies will.
She looked up at Castor with some recognition in her eyes.
Freydis was too strong-willed.
Yes, I have Freydis blood in me. Partly, anyway.
The air shimmered again, resonance spiraling around them like the breath of a dying storm. Return before I return. The artifact's voice reverberated. Mission instructions found. Salon reached out as the light swallowed them.
Stop it before it becomes too powerful. Before it destroys us all.
They materialized in the resonance space where Drimus and Roger already were. The air stank faintly of ozone. Drimus yelled.
Sudsy, you're back again.
Roger looked from Castor to Sarah, eyes narrowing.
You two keep vanishing like that and coming back with new stories. You sure you aren't part of some grand alien puppet show?
Roger, not now.
Oh hey, don't mind me. Just saying, I'd like out of this galactic soap opera.
Before anyone could respond, the artifact pulsed once, sharply, decisively, and the entire group vanished in a violet flash.
Sarah found a way through the wall. Will Roger get his wish? Somewhere in the past, Freydis made a decision about what kind of empire she'd build. The artifact returned to the beginning and learned what exactly? Next time we find out what that means and who's been watching it all along. Thanks for being here. If you're enjoying the story, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. Until next time, keep your eye on the curve.